Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. I hope you've been following this incredible series on how to increase workforce productivity. We're going through all the unseen human factors that drive productivity. People are 80% or more of the cost in most companies today. When you look at it, it is the largest untapped resource in every organization. No question about it, because people don't know how to operate the human infrastructure. They know everything else. And this is why CEOs, to a large degree, feel that 40% of the work in their company is really wasted productivity, produces no value. I think that's very true. There's lots of things people waste time on, meetings, waiting for decisions, all sorts of stuff. And then when you layer on top of it, all of these human factors that are really untapped. And if you follow the series, you'll see that people don't have the understanding necessary to really actually tap the best that people have to offer. So this is a big opportunity. It far outweighs what you're going to get out of AI because it's every individual working in the company, getting them motivated, getting them really to feel like they're safe, they have a sense of belonging, people care about them. All this stuff is absolutely huge. And so now we're going to talk about, do they have the skills to succeed? And, there are many forms of knowledge and skills that people need. There's certainly a lot of technical knowledge and technical skills that people need on the job. There's a lot of business knowledge that people need on the job. There's all sorts of institutional knowledge, which is how we do it around here, how to navigate and find your way around, which we covered back, I think it was episode 3 on roles and responsibilities. All these forms of institutional knowledge go a long way to taking people who are really motivated and making them even more productive. So this is an area that I think is not really all that well done because most people are on their own when it comes to getting work done in companies and gathering up institutional business knowledge. What's your experience, Tara?
Yeah, I agree. I think this area is definitely one that also gets overlooked. We think so much about, the technical knowledge or the ability, the skills, the aptitudes that people come into an organization with, all of that is on the resume. How much training has this person had? Do they have a degree? Do they have certifications? All those things are indicators of the knowledge that they possess.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a nice marriage that needs to happen between that technical skill set or that knowledge set that they have, along with the business knowledge. That you can only learn from being a part of that organization because every business does things a little bit differently. So you want to make sure that you're taking time to connect the two for people, that you're helping them develop that business acumen, that they are learning how to get things done at your company. Because how I do things at one company may be totally different than the way I do things at another company. So you want to make sure you're investing time in connecting the dots and making sure that people understand how their technical knowledge and their business knowledge needs to come together in order to create the best solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That you're able to find those breakthroughs through asking questions and how we can make our areas better. How can we get more creativity out of the people? How can we create solutions that are not just simple, but they're creative solutions that people want to use? They're solutions that are helpful, that people have the best possible experience they can have when they're using our tools. You don't want to frustrate people with your solutions that are, solutions that you're developing to solve a problem and they're frustrated the whole time they're using the solution.
Oh, heaven forbid.
That's where business and technical knowledge come together to make sure that people are getting the best possible outcome.
And it's also the aptitude. There are great UI designers. They just have that sense of how to do it. And I think that really, really is so important. People don't think about aptitude very often, but people have high aptitude. You could test for different aptitudes for different types of roles. And that kind of level of competency and insight into, how capable are the people really? How far can they take that role? That matters. You can take this a very long way. And I think, the whole concept of institutional knowledge of how we do it here, what's that knowledge specific to that business? Terry, I know you like to call it tribal knowledge. And I think that really does matter. That tribal knowledge is super important. And it's how we do things around here. And I see, in companies, people use some of these social collaboration tools like Slack to start, building different channels and things with knowledge where it can be recorded to help people who are onboarding and new to the organization not have to go find everything on their own. You should always be thinking about that in an organization, is how to make sure these skills, knowledge, technical knowledge, all of this is given to that individual in the most effective and efficient way possible, because lots to learn.
Yeah. You want to make things easier for people. That frustration that comes from trying to figure something out that somebody else sitting next to you has already figured out is by far one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah.
Don't let me waste time trying to figure something out that you already know. Share the knowledge, be willing to lead and share by example, give away what you have. It's not about just hoarding that knowledge so that you're the only person that knows. You want to be in a position where you're giving away every bit of knowledge that you have, because that's how you continue to grow. As you continue to use what you're learning and apply it, you understand it better. I'm a much better teacher than I am just reader, right? So once I read it and consume it, that's one level. But in order to be able to teach it to somebody else, I have to understand it at a different level. And so being able to share that knowledge with other people, it just helps you become a better teacher. You want to make sure you're doing that and not leaving people in that place of frustration where they are just trying to figure out the simplest of things. There are things that you will only learn by being a part of the organization. I've been working on projects for the better part of 30 years. And every time each new project brings new challenges, there are lots of things that are transferable, things that I've experienced before, but there's always something that comes up that's different about this one than the last one, or this organization versus that organization. It's always something that's unique to that organization. So you want to make sure you're not creating frustration for people by leaving them in a space where they have to figure it out and they don't know how to do their job. They don't know how to be successful.
I think that's super important. And that comes down to the culture of your organization. If you have a culture that really puts a value on sharing and supporting one another, not hoarding information, like Terry says, when you have people hoarding information, that's called a protective culture. You've got people who are afraid that they may not be in a secure position, or the company may be going through layoffs shortly. So they want to have an edge over everybody else. They don't really trust the organization or the future of the place. So they're going to protect their knowledge. That slows everything down. When people aren't sharing their knowledge, making sure other people get up to speed, get the help they need, things move super slowly. New people can't really onboard effectively. It becomes very, very ineffective in that organization. Every leader's got to go out of their way to really understand what are all these different types of skills that they need in that organization to make the place really thrive and move fast. And you've got to work to make sure that people acquire that. You can get some of it, technical knowledge, people can bring it with them, but all that tribal, institutional knowledge, those competencies that allow work to get done in your organization, that is what you've got to really work on mastering and making sure that that's really working at a very high level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to be continuing this series next week. We have more topics to cover. And next week, we're moving on to the whole notion of a responsible culture, one where there's responsibility and accountability. We're going to talk about that. That is a key driver of productivity, without a doubt. So you should join us for Responsible Culture. We'll be sharing that the next episode. And we're here every Wednesday, 3:00. We stream another live show. I hope you continue to join us and monitor this. We love the feedback. Reach out to us if you have questions. We're always here and willing to answer questions that you may have. You could always contact Coach at People Productive, or just put a comment down below if you go to the People Productive channel, and we'll get right back to you. So listen, we'll see you hopefully on the next show. And we really appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming.